In the fourth row here, on 2. David?
Steph, Davide Chiarato, Gazzetta Italy. This is your first ever triple-double in the playoffs, and you play a great game. Do you see anything you didn't like about your game?
There's an 8 on the stat sheet that I need to correct when we go to Cleveland, because the points that I gave up off turnovers in their building will electrify the crowd and their team, and just the things that we have to eliminate. So I'm obviously hard on myself and my own biggest critic at times, and that's something that I can control. Just being smarter with the ball. Obviously did a lot of other great things and tried to impact the game across the board. Other than just scoring and total team effort tonight with how we played and withstood their first punch coming out of the first quarter. So a lot of positives. That's one thing I need to correct going into game 3. Give ourselves more possessions and good things will happen.
Jermaine, all the way in the back.
Jermaine Franklin with TSN. Steph, there was a rare moment / opportunity in the third quarter where LeBron was guarding you one-on-one. Do you relish those moments?
It's basketball, man. I mean, every possession you have an opportunity to impact the game. It doesn't matter who really is across from you. You don't get into the one-on-one matchups, especially on this stage, because you get distracted from how you're supposed to be playing. And obviously, he's a great defender. So if you have opportunities, you have to do something pretty special to score. But for the most part, you can't focus on like you're in a playground. It's just you're all two out there. That doesn't do you any good in those situations.
You had a pretty solid reaction following that lay-in, though.
Oh yeah, it's a big moment. It's a momentum swing, and Coach got on me at halftime about my body language and just trying to play with passion, play with joy. The turnovers kind of got underneath my skin a little bit, and I was, letting it affect, how I was kind of my mannerisms too much, and in that moment, big momentum swing. Us, trying to separate us, from, continue to get a lead and going into a timeout. You want to, have some fun and enjoy that moment.
Janie up front.
Janie McCauley from AP. Along those lines of that sequence, what did you see? I mean, you dribbled down, you came back up, you dribbled, kind of circles around him and then went left to score that. I mean, how do you decide on a sequence like that?
Honestly, I was rushing to begin with because I felt like there's an angle here, an angle there, and there wasn't because, a huge crowd around on that right side of the floor. And I was able to kind of reset back behind the 3-point line. You kind of just, give a little hesitation that you make him think you're going to shoot and just try to go around him. And at that point, I was a little bit more composed than earlier in that possession. I was just kind of like a chicken with my head cut off, just, running circles. So that was kind of a microcosm of the game. We were rushing a lot in those situations, trying to keep it simple and just, make a play.
And how much fun was it to see what Klay was able to do tonight to kind of get back on a roll offensively?
It's always great to see. We're never worried about him and his shooting or anything in the spotlight that's on that. He does so much for us on the defensive end. His presence just on the floor as a threat to shoot, even if he doesn't, get an attempt up. But definitely when he's making shots, and there's a lot of timely shots tonight, were huge. And I know he didn't lose confidence in himself at all, and knew he was helping us win even though he wasn't shooting the ball well. And tonight, things turned around in his favor, and hopefully he's created a little bit of momentum for himself going into game 3.
Jay on the left.
Jay Down, ESPN. Steph, when did you learn about Steve Kerr that he'd be coaching tonight, and what did his return mean to the team?
I found out when y'all found out. I think I just got into the arena and kind of heard he was doing his press conference and giving the update. So the interesting thing is he's been around a good amount the last 2 weeks, even the last 3 or 4 games, even in the San Antonio series, he was a part of the pregame routine and video prep and just, giving us some pointers here and there, and obviously at halftime, showing his face and giving us what he has. So the whole pregame process was all the same tonight. Just a matter of him showing up on the bench and giving us, that energy. And it's always great to see. It was a great moment for him and the crowd and everybody, showing their appreciation for, all he's been through. And to see him back on the bench was huge. And, for him, like I said, the whole priority was his health. And I think he's in a good place right now.
Anthony here in the front.
Anthony Slater-Barry, newsroom Steph. Draymond was in earlier and said he thought you were the most locked in you've ever been in your career. I mean, do you feel that?
Yeah, I'm playing with a lot of energy. That's the biggest thing. Trying to be aggressive every opportunity I have. I think there's another level to get to. Talked about with the first question tonight about, just being smart with the ball. So there is another level to get to, but just trying to be aggressive and enjoy this moment, man. There's playing in the finals, and the journey is unbelievable, and we want to keep it going.
Chris over here in left.
Steph, Chris Fiedler, Cleveland.com. You mentioned your turnovers in the first half. What did you see different from Cleveland's defense in the first half compared to game one, and what changed for you in the third quarter?
I mean, they just play with energy and physicality and aggressiveness, and you had to expect that. This is, like I said, this is the finals, and every game is important. Doesn't matter really what happened in game one. You know they're going to come out with a big punch. And we withstood that pretty well, and especially in that first 6 to 8 minutes of the first quarter. Their defense, they changed their lineups a little bit, and they went a lot smaller, so they're a little faster around the court and whatnot. My turnovers were mostly just dumb ones for me, just throwing the ball, jumping to pass or to make a play, not knowing what I'm doing with the ball, and just slinging it somewhere. Stuff that I can easily correct. There are a couple, they made some athletic plays to get it, but for the most part, those are things that I need to just watch the film and figure out how to be, just slow down and make the simple play. But they're gonna keep coming, man. There's a lot of work for us left to do, and you got to expect them to play obviously better at home, and we're gonna need to play better to win on the road.
We got the last three back in this corner here.
Steph Shine Golden Books as well. So last year was the same situation regarding the score. Obviously, these teams are different this year. What difference do you see in the Cavs team of this year, and what do you guys need to do in order to win Game 3 in the Q?
And you can compare it to 2 years ago and last year. Just every team, both teams are different. And I think we all are, us especially, relying on our experience. Knowing what a road game in the finals in Cleveland is like. The atmosphere is their crowd gets crazy, and we have to do the little things to withstand their runs that they're gonna make, because they're a very talented team. They have 2 top class players in this league. You got to expect them to shoot better, just naturally being at home. So we have to do the little things, not turn the ball over, and continue to keep them off the offensive glass. Do our best job of keeping them off the free throw line. And try to take away the three-point line as best we can, because those are those momentum swings that we have here, where you let them, to toe it up on the line and knock them down. That can change momentum really quickly. So we understand that aspect of playing on the road in Cleveland.
Michael far right, and then in the back left right.
Over here, Steph, Michael Grange from Sportsnet in Toronto. The pace of this game, the level of quality, the skill between both teams, how close do you think you guys are, the Warriors, to playing at your peak level and so far in these 2 games?
I think we've done a lot of things well, but we haven't put together every category. It hasn't been great at the same time. Game 1, we didn't turn the ball over, but we didn't particularly shoot, as well as we could. Tonight, we shot much better, obviously 51%, but had 20 turnovers, so it was a give and take there. We want to try to do both at the same time. I think the biggest thing for us is our defense has been amazing. Playing with a lot of energy, playing smart, trying to make them work for everything that they get. They're still going to make tough shots. They're still going to have some special plays and make runs and be a competitive team, because they're a great team. So you got to just stick with the program, But there is another level that we can get to, like I said, and hopefully we're gonna need it in Cleveland to get a win.
Last question, back right, standing.
Yes, good night. My name is Pablo Leiva from Costa Rica, Mr. Curry. If you have to describe the attitude of the team in the last 2 games in 3 words, what would be the 3 words to describe the team attitude?
3 words? You already hit your word limit on your story?
I was just looking for the values, for the teamwork. I mean, how you describe the team?
We just play smart, aggressive, and with joy. I mean, that's 4 words. I tried.
Thank you, Steph.